All right. Thank you so much. I think that was a brilliant talk just before mine. And just to again reintroduce, I think there was a little shuffle up on the next session. I'm Raghav. I'm the co-founder and CMO of Zeebu. I'm here to talk about two things. One, I want to talk about how we are enabling trustless, chargeless, frictionless, and seamless transaction. And also here to introduce about what Zeebu is and who we are, what are we doing. We are also exhibiting here in WBS. I'll be here for today and tomorrow. More than happy to catch up with all of you over a quick chat. So what happened was, I'm a serial entrepreneur, have built and sold two of my tech companies before we started Zeebu. We started working and looking at very closely at the telecommunication carrier industry. Telecom carriers are actually the players that make international calls happen, or the messaging and the data, right? So let's say you're calling from Dubai via Etisalat. You're calling to a carrier, to an operator who is using AT&T in US. To make this call happen, there are multiple carriers in between. And we wanted to build a solution that helps these carriers to do seamless transactions. So, and that's how we were born. But the main problem statement we wanted to solve was we wanted to solve the problems around the international telecom carrier settlements. So there are a lot of problems. So for those of you who are not very well versed with telecom carrier industry, telecom carriers actually do transactions in multi-millions on a daily basis, which means if I am a carrier A and I'm doing settlement with carrier B in United States, I would probably do about $4 to $5 million of transactions every day. Traditionally, they use banking, they use wire transfer to do these transfers, and this is a very, I would say, slow, inefficient, and expensive way. They have to pay. Carriers typically operate at a very, very thin margin and low working capital. And on top of that, imagine if you have to pay wire transfer charges, bank charges, it becomes very cumbersome and painful. The settlement delays is another problem. In some of the developing economies that we work with, we saw the settlements took anywhere between 3 days to 6 days, which means those 6 days the capital is stuck for those people. There is also a revenue loss because let's say I'm doing $3 million of transactions every day for the next 1 month. I will continue to pay the banks or the traditional wire transfer guys so much money for the transactions. So we wanted to address all of this. The intention was never to start a crypto company or a token. The intention was to come up with a technology that will solve this problem, that will address this problem. And that is when we embarked on the journey to leverage Web3 to do the settlement. I just wanted to add humor here, but yeah, this is how our careers felt. So before we actually started building a platform, we went and interviewed about 65 top carriers in the world. Out of the top 165 of these carriers came up and told, these are all the complexities that are involved today in the industry. They were frustrated about the delays. They were extremely unhappy about paying these high bank charges. They were unhappy that there was no transparency. So today, let's say I am in Zambia and I do a wire transfer of about $2 million to my carrier in Dubai. The bank will only say it is in process. So I don't know what in process means. Does it mean the settlement will happen in 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours? I have no clue. So these were some of the frustrations that carrier industry started. But before we actually embarked on it, we wanted to assess what is the market potential of this whole industry. So the entire global B2B settlement industry is about 120 trillion, and just the global telecom settlement is about 1.8 trillion. And the one that we are addressing in the telecommunication carrier is a $120 billion market. And we at Zeebu are aiming to get at least a decent piece of pie in helping them using our technology solutions. So what is Zeebu? Zeebu is a neobank tailored purely for telecom carriers. What it means is we are a platform where carrier A and carrier B come on our platform. Let's say the carrier A uploads his invoice and says, this is the invoice for today. Carrier B approves it, and he clicks on Pay Now. Pay Now actually takes any kind of currency. It can be your fiat, it can be your stable token like USDT, converts it into Zeebu, and then does the transfer. Carrier B receives the transfer under 7 minutes. and then he can cash out in currency of his choice. So the whole transaction between these two carriers is done within 7 minutes. And that was the power of the platform that we built. And before we actually introduced our own token, before we actually embarked on doing this, one of my co-founders had a reservation saying, hey, I mean, are you really sure that we should get into crypto or introduce our own token? So we said, why don't we do an experiment? Why don't we build the technology platform and use some stable token to see how merchants will respond? So this was all part of our research, and we wanted to make sure that we are enabling unified payments. We are creating a seamless experience for all the carriers globally. So a sampling that we did, we went out and we took sample size of about 10 carriers from each subcontinent. We had 10 carriers from Europe, we had 10 carriers from Middle East, we had 10 carriers from the Southeast Asian market, and we said, what are the top 5, what are the top 6 features that you would want to see if you want to settle using crypto? And these were some of the top points that they said. They said, obviously, they want loyalty and reward because they are settling on a platform. They are using crypto as the mode of transfer. They wanted to make sure that there is transparency and trust. They wanted to make sure that they are informed about every phase of transaction that is happening between these carriers. And they wanted to make sure that there are smart contracts in place so that the volume of the transaction or the huge sum of money they are putting, they feel safe. They felt safe. We said, OK, let's go ahead and build a platform. And that is where we built Zeebu. Some of these are actually on the roadmap, but today we have Zeebu platform fully enabled. We have about 64 global carriers doing settlements. We've been in business for, the platform has been live for 8 months, and we have processed over 100 million plus transactions already. The commitment we have is for 1.8 billion for the first year. So by end of this year, we aim to close $1.8 billion worth of transactions. The other things that are coming on our roadmap for our product is credit and factoring services. We are also planning to come up with exchange for the telecom carriers. So that is where we stand in terms of product. Like I said, we started the experiment in 2020. The market research team worked with one of the big fives. We understood the problems that carriers are facing. We said, before we launch our token, before we build something on our own, why don't we go and work with these handful of carriers and ask them, will they be comfortable to do transactions with a stable token? In the year 2021, without any marketing, without any outreach, without any push, organically we were able to settle $10 million worth of transactions. Come 2022, we went and reached out to 25 carriers, and we said, would you be comfortable doing settlements using crypto? And then we again used USDT as a stable token, and we were able to settle about 20 million. That's where we were extremely confident that A, carrier industry is mature enough to embark on the Web3 platform and use a token. And that with that idea, in 2023, July, we launched Zeebu. So Zeebu today is the only token that is focused on telecommunication carriers, invoice settlements. So after launching, we thought probably it will take some time for us to take off. We thought probably it will take an year or year and a half before we kind of become a blockbuster, but I think God was kind. Things worked out extremely well. We got listed on 4 exchanges. Today we are on LBank, we are on MEXC, and we are also in talks with about 8 top-tier exchanges where we are listing. Within the first 45 days of the launch, we started doing about $1 million of transactions every day from the telecom carriers. We started with a modest number of 18 carriers, and today we have onboarded about 100 plus carriers. Obviously, one of the most important critical factors for any crypto or for any token is to have a loyal community. Sorry, this is not updated, but we have about 200,000 folks in our community. We are extremely active on Telegram, on Twitter, and all other channels. 4 months into operations, we successfully raised $25 million. This round was led by our strategic investor, Bunkai Ventures, who also happens to be one of the largest telecom carriers, has a portfolio company which is a telecom carrier, plus a few other VC firms. So the first round, 25 million, was very successful. We also have term sheets from few other VCs. We are in discussions with LDA Capital and few other folks. We partnered with about 136 telecom carriers today. Of these 136, 54 carriers are already live on our platform doing the transactions. Everything that I'm stating here is a fact, and you can go back to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko and check the transaction volume and everything that I stated just now. Like I said, we are listed on Bitmart, Bitforex, LBank, MEXE, and we are in conversations to close 5 more exchanges by end of November. So this is where we are in our journey. What we are looking for is obviously build a vibrant community of folks who are interested in the power of Web3, Web3 technologies, telecommunication carrier as an industry, and all other use cases. One of the common questions we keep getting from all our investors is, what other industries are you looking at diversifying? At least for next 2 quarters, we want to stay focused on telecom carrier as an industry because we have great book of business already signed up. We want to complete this year 1 of $1.8 billion of transactions done. And once we do this, we want to then pivot and probably get into retail and other spaces. For next 2 quarters, the focus would be to stay committed to what we have started. What's next for Zeebu? We have been doing a lot of things that is centered around ways that can help telecom carriers and ways that can help our community members. Zeebu will be launching Zeebu Club, which is an exclusive club for all the token holders and people who are part of the Zeebu community. Through this club, we want to bring in thought leadership. We want to bring in our community folks. We want to engage more deeply. We want to take real-time feedback on improving the platform. We are also aiming at doing a full-blown neobank. We are in talks for a inorganic growth with a company here in Dubai. It's a licensed digital bank. We are in discussions, advanced levels of discussions, to see if we can acquire and come up with our own token. Right now, like I said, we are present in about 27 countries. We want to touch 50 countries to make sure that we spread our wings and expand geographically. New partnerships is one of the core focus for us as our future expansion. Not just partnerships around Web3 and technology area, but also around all the other ancillary areas that will help us accelerate our journey. So this is what future looks like for Zeebu for the next 2 quarters. And this is the team. 3 of us are the founding team members. I'm Raghav. I take care of marketing, branding, partnerships, and everything to do with investor relations and other stuff. Raj is my CEO and founder. Raj is a financial wizard. He is somebody who's extremely passionate about financial engineering. Raj graduated from Charleston in Bachelor's in Finance, and he leads our finance, compliance, legal team, and Raj is based out of New York. So we are headquartered here in Dubai. Our office is in Emirates Towers, and we have our second office in New York, Dubai, where Raj is based. I have my third co-founder, that is Keshav Pandya. He is the COO and the other co-founder. Keshav's focus is on making our platform more robust. He takes care of making sure that we do a tight integration for all our carriers. He is a techno-commercial guy who works extremely closely with all the telecom carriers and our business development team in onboarding more and more telco carriers. So this is the team. We are extremely excited to be here presenting. Like I said, I'll be here all day today and tomorrow. Would love to catch up with you folks over a coffee. Any questions you have, please stop by at Zeebu booth. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.